Now, with Green Hornet currently in pre-production, Seth Rogen is starring in this movie, Michel Gondry is directing, and added to the cast, Cameron Diaz is going to play the love interest, Nicolas Cage is going to play the villain, but who is going to play the ultimate sidekick, Kato? Well, it's just been announced that a rising Asian star, Jay Chou, has been cast in the role made famous by Bruce Lee. But we're not going to really dwell too long on the current pre-production status of the Green Hornet, because we want to look back at the man himself, Bruce Lee, the absolute legendary figure that he is, and so the contribution that he made to the world of cinema with his movies. And joining me in studio is Ross McDonough from rossvross.com. Ross, let's plug that site. Let's explain what the site's all about.
I'm always good for a plug, Gordon. Yes, rossvross.com is myself and another journalist, and we just battle it out basically every week on two films that are connected. This week we've got two noir thrillers, two revenge thrillers, two classic films, Old Boy and Memento. Have you seen either, Gordon?
Oh, I've seen Memento, seen Old Boy. They're absolute cracker movies.
Brilliant. Very hard to pull apart.
So clever,
yes,
the way they're put together. And I know there's I know actually if you buy even the single disc version of Memento, there's an Easter egg where you can watch it in chronological order.
That's right.
I haven't mastered how to find it, but I wouldn't mind trying to find it. If anyone happens to know how to do it, Meteor 085 711 1038. I'm just too stingy to go out and buy the 3 disc set where you can buy it there.
You're right, too.
But Old Boy, I know Spielberg is thinking of remaking it.
Don't know about that. Just Spielberg, but I think we should let Sleeping Dogs lie.
Yeah, it's a great movie, folks, and I can't wait to read that, Ross. That sounds fantastic. Bruce Lee, have to say, grown up as a kid, absolutely adored him. Man, legendary status as we mentioned, but full of mystery as well. The curse that was attached to him. But Kato was the role that really kind of shot him to prominence, Ross. And why do you think that he is still considered to be one of the best?
Oh God, Bruce Lee. He's a cultural icon. Like he's up there with JFK, Marilyn Monroe, Elvis Presley. These people who are just transcend the fields that they were discovered in. I think Bruce Lee was solely responsible for a generational zeitgeist. I think you were talking about the Green Hornet film there earlier. I don't think we'd be making that film today if it weren't for Bruce Lee. I think you could literally put all of the interest of martial arts practically, especially, well, in cinema anyway, on Bruce Lee's shoulders. Because
if you take even the Green Hornet, I think a lot of people would be hard-pressed even to kind of come up with who the Green Hornet's actual name in the actual TV series or the comic book series.
The Green Hornet only ran in America for one season, but when Bruce Lee himself didn't know, he obviously just played the sidekick, Kato, but in Hong Kong it was really, really popular. He didn't know about it, but they were calling it the Kato Show, and even though he's only supposed to be a marginal character, it became all about Bruce Lee.
Isn't it amazing? Because you think of the impact that he had, where an actual sidekick overtakes sort of the main character, as it were.
Exactly, and deservedly so.
Unbelievable. Now, his Hong Kong movies were incredibly popular. Obviously, Big Boss, Game of Death. Game of Death, of course, was sort of salvaged by... he actually shot, it was like a 10-minute piece where he was against a 7-foot basketball player, Akeem.
That's right.
Which is an incredible sequence, and he wears the famous yellow kind of little jumpsuit,
of course, yeah,
which then Uma Thurman made famous again in Kill Bill.
Indeed.
And it's sort of Tarantino sort of nodding his head. He was so fast, so slick in those movies, and I think for anyone that saw the movie that was made about him, Dragon, Rob Cohen made that film. Sometimes always on set, everything didn't go according to plan. People would go up and try and have a pop shot at him just to see, was he really that good?
Oh yeah, you read the stories about everybody wanting a few minutes of fame. Is this guy just a movie star? Is he a martial artist? But I think you'd be hard pressed to find a better martial artist in the history of the planet, I think, than Bruce Lee. I mean, just looking at his body, I don't think you could argue against it. It was the most developed and perfect body God ever put together. I mean, that guy is... I remember I was talking last week about Chuck Norris facts. I mean, if you read the list of feats that Bruce Lee could accomplish, it reads like Chuck Norris facts. Like, some of them are just simply unbelievable. Like,
yeah, the 1-inch punch and stuff like that.
The unstoppable punch, the press ups he could do with one finger. Some of the weights he could bicep curl. Like, it's phenomenal. Like, this guy, he was all about... I know he complained about martial artists who just were all about technique, but he was all about development, and he knew, his body was the temple, and he had to develop that every single day. His training routine was absolutely phenomenal, and it really paid off.
Well, actually, let's take a clip now of Bruce Lee talking about the art of martial arts.
Man, listen, you see, really, to me, ultimately, martial art means honestly expressing yourself. Now, it is very difficult to do. I mean, it is easy for me to put on a show and be cocky and be flooded with a cocky feeling and then feel like pretty cool and all that. Or I can make all kinds of phony things, you see what I mean? Blinded by it. Or I can show you some really fancy movement. But to express oneself honestly, not lying to oneself, and to express myself honestly, now that, my friend, is very hard to do, and you have to train. You have to keep your reflexes so that when you want it, it's there. When you want to move, you're moving. And when you move, you are determined to move. Not taking 1 inch, not anything less than that. If I want to punch, I'm going to do it, man, and I'm going to do it, you see. So, I mean, so that is the type of thing you have to train yourself into it.
Now, Ross, it's always been said that there was a curse attached to the Bruce Lee family, and you only have to see the very eerie similarity between his own death and his son Brandon's. Bruce Lee died just before the release of his big Hollywood movie Enter the Dragon, and then of course Brandon Lee tragically died on the set of The Crow. Ross, do you buy into that eerie curse attached to the Lee family?
Well, it's hugely coincidental. I mean, they died at very similar ages. I think Bruce died at 32 and Brandon died at 28. Both died sort of at the height of their careers, making movies. A lot of coincidences, but I'm sure they're just coincidence. I mean, you could read all day long about the conspiracy theorists on the internet that there was triad, satanic people putting curses on the family and all that. But it's just a really, really sad story. I mean, to lose. I mean, Bruce was. I'd say he'd still be going today, like, and I'd say he'd still be kicking ass as well.
Oh, big time. And when you think of like, when I look at someone like Jackie Chan, I think, he's Bruce should have had the career now that he's having.
That's right.
Granted, I doubt Bruce Lee would be making movies like The Medallion and Shanghai Noon.
Or Rush Hour 5, 6 and 7.
Big time. Ross McDonagh, thank you so much. Don't forget to check out Ross's website, rossvross.com, for the Ultimate Pros Fight Club. Ross, we'll talk to you again very, very soon, but thank you for your insight into Bruce Lee.